I think many of us, we have learned by this point that narcissists are preoccupied with their image, reputation, status. These things are clearly very important to them. It's all about how they look, how things appear. They want things to look good. They want to appear attractive, desirable, beautiful. All of these things very important to them, clearly. But then that may leave you wondering, okay, so what's going on with me then? Why does it seem that my beauty, my attractiveness, my natural good looks, this magnetism, why does it appear as though this is the very issue? This is the very problem. It seems to be the biggest thing of all with them. And I did a video about this a couple of months ago, and it got quite a lot of views compared to my other videos, because clearly this is something that resonates with so many of you. And interestingly enough, my first ever video about narcissists was titled "The Narcissist Does Not Want You to Look Good or Feel Good." And actually, this is really what it all comes down to. And it's strange that this isn't talked about enough on YouTube or TikTok, because this is what it's all about. It is all about your image. It is all about your reputation, your status, how you appear to other people. That is their problem with you. That is what they're uncomfortable with. That is what they don't like about you, because of how it reflects on them. But it's not a lack of beauty, a lack of attractiveness. That is not the issue here. They will make you think that that's the problem. They will make you believe that you're not beautiful enough. You're not successful enough. You don't have enough money to make them happy. They will make you believe that that's what the problem is. And you may never realize it, because many of you may never get to the point, especially while being with them, where you're comfortable, you're confident in your looks, in the job that you have, the money that you have. You're never going to get to that point where you feel confident and comfortable in that, where you know without a shadow of a doubt that this is enough. This is more than good enough for them. This is more than what they deserve. Most of you may never get to that point while you're in the relationship. And so you never have that confirmation. But I can assure you, no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how much you improve your looks, no matter how much you go to the gym, no matter how much you work out, no matter how much you get promoted, you start a business, you make tons of money, none of that is going to make anything better. None of that is going to improve your relationship with them. No matter what you do, no matter what you achieve, no matter how much greater you try and be for them, it's not going to make a difference, because you are not the problem. They are the problem. You can't fix a problem that they have created or that they have failed to solve. And actually, you think about it like this. What do you think happens if it's already their problem? They are already insecure about their looks, their attractiveness, their job, their money, their status. So what do you think happens if all of a sudden you come up You start working out, you start looking better. You go up, and it just reminds them of how low down they are. That's all that it does. It makes them feel worse about themselves. Initially, it didn't, and actually, this is the whole point. They targeted you for your beauty, because you were attractive, because you were successful, wealthy, whatever positive traits you may possess. This is why they targeted you. This is what drew them to you. They were in the pursuit of trying to claim these things for themselves. Initially, they were about appreciating it in you, complimenting you, love bombing you. They were doing that initially because they were seeing it as though eventually those things are going to be theirs, or those qualities are going to rub off on them. So kind of like you're like a trophy. Like they've got their arm around you. They own you. Or even though I'm a vegan myself, but it's kind of like you see in these photos sometimes, people go out and they try to catch the biggest fish, and then they take a picture, like, look at what they've caught, as though it makes them look more powerful, like they've conquered, they've achieved something. And it's this exact same thing with the narcissist. That's what they were doing. They were trying to possess you, own you, and to show everyone, look at what I've pulled in. Look at what I've conquered. Look at what I've got under my control. Something that is so much bigger, greater than me. Look at the size of this fish. It's so big, it looks like it could eat me. But I've got it under my control, so think about how powerful I am. That's the mindset. They go after the biggest fish, and then they rein them in. They try and bring them in under their control because of what they think it says about themselves. When actually, how they should be thinking about it is, no, you didn't play fair and square. You cheated. You used bait to lure it in. And then you switched it up. So that fish didn't even know what was going on. They didn't even know what was happening. If they did know, and without the bait, then nature would have played out as it was meant to. And that's just it. But they don't think about that side of things. They just want to think about how great they are for bringing you in under their control, for owning you, possessing you. As though now that speaks of how powerful, how wonderful they are. So that's how they're seeing it in your looks and your attractiveness. You're just a trophy to them. You're something that they have won. You're just an object for them to flaunt and show off. And when you begin to figure this out, that is when the envy kicks in. When they feel their grip slipping on you, when they see that they're losing control, that's when they begin to turn against you. Because let's go back to the fish analogy again. Yeah, it may look good after they've thrown out the bait, after they've tricked the fish and then reeled it in. The fish doesn't know what's going on. The fish is just completely confused. Then after that, when they're holding up the fish, taking a picture, it looks good. It looks like they've achieved something. They've conquered something. Like they're strong. But then what happens if that fish isn't actually dead and suddenly wakes up and then attacks them? or just jumps back into the water. They don't look so good then. Then they're the ones who look stupid. They're the ones who just look like they just cheated their way to get there. Like it's all a lie, it's all a scam. That's how it looks on them then. Because then the truth is being brought to light. That actually, no, they didn't attain, they didn't conquer this beautiful person. Not really, they just tricked you. They used magic, spells, deception. Because if you knew what you were getting yourself into right at the start, you wouldn't have got involved in it. You would have pulled yourself out of it right at the beginning. And they know that. And this is why anytime you try to slip away, when you start to wake up, it becomes a serious threat to them. They can't stand it because it's reminding them of their own inefficiency, inadequacy, of how they're just not good enough. They're just not attractive enough themselves to attract you naturally without the manipulation, deception, gaslighting. You take all of that away, all of the fake stuff. What can they do then? Nothing. They can't do anything. Because they rely on creating a facade. Something that isn't even real. It's all just pretending. It's make-believe. And it's the only way that they can do it, is to manipulate you, deceive you. And then once they brought you in, once they've got you under control, they use threats, intimidation, coercive control, pressuring you. The narcissistic fog, fear, obligation, guilt. It's all because they can't accept that they're just not deserving of you. They're not deserving of someone like you at your level, of that kind of standard. They're not deserving. And not only that, but you are deserving of so much more. You deserve so much better than that. And I'm not talking about so much that you deserve someone who has to be on your level and has to be just as attractive as you are in just the same amount of money. It's not always about that. And actually, that can often be what gets us into a lot of trouble, is thinking that we found someone at the same level. Someone who is equally as attractive, earns the same amount of money. But what about their heart? What about the connection? Because without that, you haven't got anything. So it's not always about superficial things. Although, yeah, sometimes that could be a part of it. It depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what's important to you. What are your deal breakers? Because you may be young, you may be saving up for a home. You may be looking for someone who's earning a similar amount so that you can buy a home together. So it depends on what's important to you. It depends on you as an individual as well. But yeah, they idealize you initially, and from that moment on, they wanted to own you, possess you. Because they felt inferior, inadequate. They became very jealous. They wanted everything that is you to be theirs. They wanted to own you. And this is why, from that point on, they were trying to change you. They were trying to mold you into something different. It's like they were trying to tell you, no, you come over here. You do this instead. Because they wanted to jump into that spot. They wanted to get all up in everything that you were when they first targeted you. They wanted to take that for themselves. And that's just it, you ever wonder, why can't you be you? Why aren't you allowed to be you? Why is there always so much confusion, pressure, intimidation, all of these tactics? And then they complain that you have changed over time, but it's like, how can you not change in that type of environment? When they're constantly grooming you, conditioning you, deceiving you, giving you lies and future faking, not letting you be you, because anytime you be you, how do they react? Especially covert narcissists, what do they do when you're trying to be you? They cause all sorts of chaos, confusion. It makes them angry. Because they wanted to take on that identity. And this becomes the whole problem with them, is that when you hold on to yourself, when you keep doing you, you keep being you, this is why it makes them so angry, because that's who they wanted to be. They wanted to be you, and they wanted to give you whatever they thought was the problem with them. And this is how this happens. You ever notice how the very things they seem to like about you at the beginning, the very things that they complimented you on, the very things that seem to draw them to you, like the whole point, the whole reason of why they're even there, those are the things that then become the problem later on. How is that possible? How can they end up hating the very things they initially seem to love? It's because they wanted that for themselves. And when you keep holding on to it, then they can't have it. They can't be it. That's why it makes them angry. Because they wanted to take that from you. They wanted to take your identity. Everything that you are, everything that made you you. And this is why they gradually try to change you. They try to mold you in what suits them. They dump all of their negative qualities onto you. As an example, initially, you may have been rather calm, rather stoic. You felt very comfortable within yourself. They were attracted to that. It was what drew them to you. But they wanted to take that from you. And then they wanted to put their negative qualities onto you. So they wanted to make you unstable, while they go off as the calm person and using that to attract new sources. This is what they do. And I do apologize for all of the trolls. They don't like it when I expose this information, because, you know, they feel like I'm talking about them. Which I'm sure, you know, it probably does speak to a lot of them. But yeah, this is it, you know, this is why they end up hating the very things that drew them to you. Because they were coming in hoping that those things will be theirs. They were coming in to steal from you. And so when you're holding on to it, you're holding on to yourself, not letting them take it. Then to them, that's like betrayal. They become resentful, jealous. Because they already made it up in their minds that this was all going to be theirs. It was all going to belong to them. And you never knew anything about that. You thought you were going to be building, sharing with someone who was similar to you, when they just weren't. That was never how they were thinking it was going to be. They were just coming in like a thief, abandoned, just coming in to take as much as they could, and then to run off, run away with it, leave you with nothing. And this goes for everything, you know, whether it's your success, money, qualities, your beauty. They envy all of these things in you. And especially how you look, because for them, it's all about how they look. It's all about their image. So your beauty makes them envious. It makes them resent you, because these are traits that they secretly crave. They want that for themselves. And like I mentioned with the fish analogy, They want to dominate and control you. And they see your beauty as a threat to that. And that's just it, you know, anything that provides you with a sense of self, anything that reminds you of who you are, they have to take it away. They have to destroy it in order for them to dominate and control you. Anything that is a reminder, anything that gives you life, they have to strip that away, because they don't want you to be reminded of who you are as a result of the time that you put in to build the person that you are. They don't want anything to influence, to affect you, to where it becomes this reminder. Because they're trying to harp on that. They're trying to be you. And of course, your beauty is a part of that. It's a part of your identity. I mean, yes, you know, beauty is quite a superficial trait, but it's still a part of you. It's still a part of who you are. Such as if you have blue eyes, brown eyes, that's a part of you. But they have to devalue those things. They have to make it out like there's something wrong with you, or that you're not good enough. You're not attractive enough now, but really they're just projecting how they feel about themselves and your presence onto you. And they hate it how with your looks, it gets you attention. And they want all of the attention for themselves. So they feel like you're taking the spotlight away from them. Because in their minds, they believe that they deserve to be the more desirable person in the relationship. They feel entitled to that position. And, you know, that's the thing, is that they targeted you for your beauty. And they're not letting you be beautiful. They're not celebrating your beauty. They're not letting you be the more desirable one. When they targeted you out of desire, which is very contradictory. That's how you know that they're being fake. Because how is it that they get to dominate and control you, and it's all about how wonderful they are for conquering you? But it's like they target you for your beauty anyway, at the start. So work that out. How does that make any sense? And then they just play it down. They act like you're not anything. They project their insecurities onto you. It's not right what they do. But this is what they do to control you, because they know that they have deceived you. They know that they do not deserve you. And they fear that if you get too confident in yourself, in your looks and your attractiveness, then what's going to happen is you're going to realize your worth. You're going to realize that you deserve better than that. And that's not what they want. They want to keep you down. They want to keep you having doubts. They want you to not know just how great you are. They want you to think less of yourself, so that you will stay stuck with them. Because this is really what makes them feel better. This is what fulfills them in life. Because they are deeply insecure. They feel completely ugly inside, unattractive, undesirable. So the only way that they can feel desirable, feel better, is for them to keep you under control and dominate you. And not let you know your worth, not let you know just how wonderful you are. And it's all out of insecurity. So yeah, they will try and devalue your beauty. They will try and make it seem like your beauty is not important, even though that's practically, possibly the sole reason why they targeted you. And yet, once they've got you, then they'll play it down. And it's really just to lower your self-esteem, to maintain control, because they're insecure. They know that you deserve better than them. Maybe you deserve someone who compliments your beauty. And again, you know, it's not all about being with someone who's equally as beautiful as you, equally as handsome, but at least someone who takes care of themselves. Someone who looks after themselves. Because that's typically how it is, you know, if someone looks after themselves, if someone values their own physical and mental health, they're more likely to value yours as well. That's just how it works. And also they fear that your beauty might attract other admirers, which of course ignites their fear of abandonment. Because narcissists, they want you all to themselves. And it's kind of twisted when you think about it. They want to take someone beautiful and just lock them away so that no one else can see them, just for their own personal enjoyment. When it's like, if something is beautiful, shouldn't it be celebrated? Shouldn't it be appreciated by other people as well? Because if you think about it, that was the whole point of what drew them to you, was that you were beautiful, you were attractive. And it wasn't just based off of their own perception, because narcissists, they follow trends. It was based off of what other people are thinking as well. So all of this, it's all out of envy and jealousy. At some point, they've seen someone else being with someone beautiful, and then they wanted to have that for themselves. Because what they're really trying to achieve is this feeling of possession, almost like a demonic possession, containment over something beautiful. It's like one of those car collectors. It's like they buy a car and then they just want to lock it away. And they don't really appreciate it even themselves. It's just that feeling of having something stored away, hoarding it, locking away something of value, containing it. Because they've dominated it, they've got it under their control. And it just seems to make them feel better about themselves. Because like I said, you know, they feel ugly inside, they feel broken. So to have that power over you, it makes them feel like they're better now. Like they're not so bad. Because they view you as an extension of them. So yeah, this is what they do. They want to humble you to prevent you from realizing your worth. And it's really sick what they do, because it's like They are getting a sense of worth from dominating and controlling you. That's where they're getting their worth from. But you're not even allowed to see the worth in yourself. I mean, just think about that. Just think about how crazy that sounds. They get a sense of worth from dominating and controlling you. But then they have to lock you down. And you're not even allowed to see the worth in yourself. You're not allowed to see the worth in your beauty. And again, it's not all about superficial things. But they're seeing the worth in that. They're getting a sense of worth from your beauty, as though you're an extension of them. So why can't you get a sense of worth from that? If they can get a sense of worth from dominating and controlling you, but that's just it. They don't want you to have that, because that then takes away their control. When you realize your confidence, you realize that you deserve more. You deserve someone who appreciates you. Someone who doesn't just take you for granted. If this is making sense to you, give it a thumbs up. I'm sure there's a lot of beautiful people out there who could benefit from seeing this. But yeah, narcissists, they're always looking for vulnerabilities. And they see your strengths as your weaknesses. Because of course, when they see these things, they assume, such as with your looks, that you are going to be relying on that. It's what provides you with a sense of self. It's what makes you feel good about yourself. And, there's nothing wrong with that to some degree. If you feel good when you see yourself in the mirror, if you appreciate your looks, your beauty, that's fine. I mean, it's not all about the superficial things. Obviously, you should focus on deeper qualities too. But yeah, celebrate who you are. Be grateful for your looks, your body. Appreciate those things. But they see it as though you're relying on that for a sense of identity and to feel good. So they use it to break your confidence. It's kind of like pulling the rug from underneath you. So they can see, this is making you feel good. This is letting you know who you are. Let me just take this away from you. Let me give you a backhanded compliment, a subtle dig, to erode your sense of identity so that you don't really know who you are anymore. And then that's mine for the taking. Then I get a sense of who you are in myself. That's how they think. But yeah, this is all envy and jealousy as a result of insecurity. They want to control you, they want to contain you, they want to keep you all to themselves. Because if other people see you, if other people praise your looks, if they praise how beautiful you are, then they feel overshadowed. They feel like they're not being noticed. They're not being appreciated. Because you look better than them. And that's why they then react with cruelty. Now they're looking to harm you now, because it's caused a narcissistic injury. It's made them feel insignificant, irrelevant, inadequate. So now they want to make you feel that way. They want to make you feel like you're not deserving of good treatment, comfort, happiness. And instead, what you're deserving of is being attacked, harmed. This is what they do. And it's all because they're envious, they're jealous. Because you overshadow them, you take the spotlight away from them. And it's not that you're intending to do that, but it is what it is. I mean, it's just life. It's just life. Some people are more beautiful than others. Some people attract more attention than other people do. And that's just something that people have to accept. Not control or dominate. Just have to accept the reality. Some people get a lot of attention. Some people are attractive, they're desirable. And that's a part of their identity, that's just who they are. But narcissists, no, they can't accept that. They orchestrate everything, they control it. And it's not so much that they can't accept your beauty, your desirability. It's more about what it says about them. They feel undesirable, unworthy in comparison. Deep down they know that they don't deserve you. They know that because of your beauty, it intimidates them and makes them feel inferior. That's what this is. They know that they don't deserve a beautiful woman or a handsome man like you. This is why they treat you that way. This is why they try to dominate and control you. This is why they don't want other people to see your beauty. This is why they're so envious and jealous. Because they know that they don't deserve you anyway. And this is deeper than just insecurity. It's not just that they're insecure, they quite literally do not deserve you. Because look at how they treat you. Look at how they fail to improve themselves. So this is why, they punish you for attention that you naturally receive. And then they blame you for it. Because people just naturally give you attention. People just naturally like you. They like who you are, who you naturally are, without their domination, without their control. And it's not like that for them. If they were to be themselves, if they were to be open about who they are, no one would like them. They have to be fake, just as they've been fake with you. Just as they manipulated you. And so this is what this is about, is just your realness, your authenticity. People appreciate that in you, they don't appreciate it in them. And you're just naturally a likable, attractive, desirable person. Of course you are, I mean, you attracted them. But they wanted to take that for themselves. Thank you for the donation, P Beast. They wanted to take it for themselves. And this is why, they don't like it when you get attention. They don't like it when people compliment you. Because it's encouraging you. They do not want you to be encouraged. They do not want to keep it going. They do not want to keep that flame burning, celebrating you, allowing you to be the star that you naturally are. They don't want you to have that, even though that's rightfully yours. That's rightfully your position. That's rightfully where you belong. But they're just envious, they're resentful of you. They want to take that for themselves. And this is why they never compliment you. They don't appreciate your beauty. Or they insult what you're wearing. Or if you're trying a new look, they put you down for that. Because they just want to get it back under their control. They want to own it. And they get that from diminishing the beauty in you or diminishing your ability to see it. Even sometimes it's like, you can be beautiful. As long as you don't see it, as long as you don't think that you are. It's your sense of self. Because they either don't have a sense of self, they're not happy with the sense of what they do have, of who they are. And that's why this all revolves around that. It's not just about you looking good, it's about you feeling good about yourself. Because they don't feel good about themselves. And this is why they can't stand you getting compliments, people seeing you, appreciating you, the real person that you are, when you're just naturally comfortable by yourself. They hate that. Because they know it's not like that for them. And they could see that initially, that you are attractive, you are desirable, people are complimenting you. People are encouraging you, giving you support. Just naturally, just you being you, they could see it. And it wasn't like that for them. Or in some cases, maybe it was, but because of the lack of connection, because they wear a mask, because they have to be fake, it's not like exactly how it is for you. You didn't have to wear a mask. You could just be you, naturally beautiful. So yeah, they really see this as a source of power. They feel powerful when they can make you feel worthless. Because you're not worthless. You're attractive. So they get a source of power from turning something into something that it's not. They get a source of power from taking an attractive person and making them see themselves as unattractive, undesirable, or something wrong with them. That's where their power comes from. And perhaps it's because they can't make that shift in themselves, in their own lives. They can't go from seeing themselves as unattractive to attractive. They can't do that for themselves. So instead, they do it to you and turn you from attractive to unattractive. They make that shift instead, so that it creates a false sense of elevation in themselves. So the message behind this is really for you to recognize that it doesn't matter how attractive you are. It doesn't matter about your looks. It doesn't matter about your wealth, your job, your status, possessions. Because in fact, the more that you have to offer, the more that they need to tear you down to feel superior. Because that's all that it's about for them. It's for them to feel superior to people. The whole point of why they targeted you is because they thought that they could use you as an extension to feel superior to people. Going back to the fish analogy. Catching a big fish and using it to feel superior. But what happens if it's not dead? And then it wakes up. You don't look so superior then. And it's the same thing with you. They have to keep you asleep. You can't be awake and aware of who you are, of how attractive you are when you're around them. They can't let that happen. Their power, their satisfaction comes from taking you and bringing you in and making you think that you're less than who you are while you're in their presence. And then that makes them feel so powerful to have you under their control. This is why they get so mad when you start to wake up, when you start to switch things up, when you start to realize your beauty, your worth, and you utilize it to your advantage. This is why they get so mad when you do that. Because then they start to see, oh, you're realizing that you have something there. You realize that you are, in fact, greater than them. And this is why they work overtime. They really do their work on you. And their main objective is really just to prevent you from realizing your worth, realizing your attractiveness. Because they want to have a person like you, attractive, beautiful, handsome, in their domain, in their lair, under their spell, under their control, not realizing just how valuable you are. Kind of like the movie Cinderella. It's really the same thing, and essentially you are being robbed. You are being robbed. You deserve so much better than that. You deserve far better treatment. You deserve to be noticed, celebrated. You really do. For your natural good looks, for the effort that you put in into taking care of yourself. And again, this isn't all about being wined and dined. It's not about that. And, you know, you've got to be careful with these sugar daddies. People like that. Grandiose narcissists who are trying to buy you. And there's just no connection. You see, that's what you got to focus on, is the connection. Is this person really passionate about you? Do they have that energy towards you? Are they really in it with you? Well, they're like, yes, you are beautiful. And they feel good by appreciating you as a separate person. Now, this is what you want to look for. If you're looking for a good partner who genuinely appreciates you, the real you, they're going to be looking for differences at the beginning. At the beginning. Yes, at the start. They are going to be looking for differences, not similarities. It's not going to be so much about how you're similar, how you're so alike, you've got so much in common. Not so much. They're going to be in awe of what's different between you and them. It's going to be about the mystery. That's what they're going to be drawn to. There's going to be the separateness, the distinction. Because that's how you know that you're dealing with someone who has their own self-awareness, their own separate sense of self. Is that they can appreciate the separate things in you and not try to own them. That's how you know that you're going to be appreciated for a very long time. If they can see the separation. And it's not all about trying to own you, trying to put you under a spell. But of course, with narcissists, that's exactly what they do. It's all about how you're so similar. I mean, of course it is. You know, they mirror you. They literally mirror you. They reflect you back to you. It's what they do. So of course, if that's a fake connection, if that's not even real, if they can't even really appreciate you as a separate person, then of course the opposite must be true. Someone who doesn't mirror you. And interestingly enough, it tends to be where you find the most tension, discomforts. Even fear sometimes, because it's like the fear of the unknown. Now that's where you know you're onto something real there. And especially when someone can let that tension build over time, instead of just having to control it, subdue it. That's when you know someone is appreciating the separateness in you. But these narcissists, nope, they will never do that for you. It's all about how you're so similar in every way. It's like you're exactly the same. You like exactly the same things, and they're viewing you as an extension of themselves. And it's really got nothing to do with you. They're seeing themselves through you. So kind of like back to the fish analogy again. But it's a good one, back to it. When they catch that big fish and they're holding it up, they're taking a picture with it, they're seeing themselves through the fish. They're not looking at the fish and thinking, oh, wow, look how big this fish is. It's more, look how big I am while they're holding the fish. That's what it's, the message that it's sending back to them. Look how powerful I am. It's a mirror back to them. It's not like, look how grand this is. It's not like that at all. But that's when you know that it's real. That is when you know that it's real, is when someone can separate themselves from something and be like, this doesn't belong to me, I don't own it. I'm not really entitled to anything here. Unless, of course, there's an agreement and I invest something into it. But I can see that, yes, you know, this is something spectacular. This is something grand, although mysterious. And, well, yes, I may want to be a part of it. I may want to bring this closer to me. I may want to be more involved in it, more connected. But at the same time, I can still appreciate that this is me and that's them. And we are still separate. I can still see that. I can still appreciate it. And yet at the same time, I can see this person is growing, and I'm going to encourage that. I'm going to give them their space. I'm going to give them their freedom to grow. And that's the thing about it, is that sometimes you give people the freedom that they do grow and you grow apart. Sometimes love means letting someone go to continue on their own journey. Love isn't always about being together. Sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes we're just meant to grow together. But if it works that way, then great, you know. then that's just how it's meant to be. If you can grow together with someone, if you're not weighing them down. But that's exactly what narcissists do. They pretend to be on your level, and they're really just holding you back from the person that you could be. You could achieve so much more without them. Especially with someone who can recognize that separation between you and them, and can encourage you, celebrate you on your individual development. Because that's just it. And many of you may have experienced yourself, as I did in my childhood, being viewed as an extension of the narcissist. It definitely hindered my growth. It hindered my development. And if instead they had appreciated me as a separate individual and encouraged me on my own journey, I would have grown a lot better. But instead, what happened in my situation was that I really fought back against it. I ran away. I ended up from being the golden child to being the scapegoat. And then I just naturally ended up on my own journey anyway. So that's how it turned out for me. But yeah, this is a very important point. Is that if you want to grow, if you want things to get better for you, if you want to elevate in life and really get to know who you are, you've got to have that separation. Even in a relationship. And it's not all about distance. The closest relationships, the ones with the deepest connection, the deepest intimacy is when you are separate. That's when it gets as deep as it can get. Because otherwise you're just being viewed as a mirror. There's no real connection there at all. They don't even know you and you don't really know them. But it can fool us. And we can get trapped in it. But yeah, this is what it all comes down to, is your beauty disrupts their illusion of being the most important person in the room. Because they want to feel important. They want to feel important to other people, and they want to feel important to you. Because they want you to send that beauty over to them. And of course, that can only happen if you view them as something important. And, once you're not in awe of them anymore, once you realize the truth, then it's all about alarming you, provoking fear. Like, look at this. Look over here. It's what they do. To just get your attention. So that awareness you would normally have of yourself, it then goes to them. So this is what they're doing out here. And it's really messed up. And it just stunts your growth, your development, your sense of identity. You don't even know who you are anymore. You don't even realize just how beautiful you are. And it's like you were the same person at the beginning. You may not have aged much. And you may have been putting in so much effort to the point where you look even better than you did at the start. And yet you feel so much less than you were back then. Because it's all in your head. They're planting these seeds of doubt in your mind. And it's like the old saying goes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And what they do is they damage your perception. You start to see things differently, but it's still there. You just need to fine-tune your perception of things, and then you will begin to see it differently. And this is what you will have to do, to get back to you. Just bit by bit, just start admiring yourself again. Every morning when you wake up, you look in the mirror, you notice at least one thing that you like about yourself physically. And it could be anything. It could be your hair, it could be your eyes, it could be something that you're wearing. But just make it about something personal to you. And just admire that in yourself, but then also keep it to yourself. Don't share it with them, because they will take it away from you. They can't find anything good in themselves. They're very insecure. So they have to get that from you. It's like there's nothing beautiful over there. So they've got to look outside of themselves. And again, it's not just that anyone who likes anything beautiful is because they don't feel beautiful themselves. No, if you can view someone as a separate person and still appreciate them, compliment them, encourage them, it's because you have a sense of yourself and you can see the beauty in yourself, so you can appreciate it in them. The reason why they go to envying and taking from you is because they don't see anything good in themselves, especially when they're around you. Otherwise, when they're with other people, they may be able to fake and pretend, but it gets real when they're with you. So, yeah, this is my description of how they actually treat you worse if you're beautiful or handsome for men. Don't take it personally. Don't ever think that it's got anything to do with your looks, your job, the amount of money that you have. It's nothing to do with that. No matter how good you are, no matter how good you do, it's not going to be enough. They're never going to appreciate that in you as a separate person. They're just going to make it about themselves. It's always going to be about how wonderful they are and just how bad you are. That's all that it's ever going to be like. And so you have to have a separate world outside of them where you do appreciate yourself and you don't share that with them. And also where you're aware of who they are and of how they can't find any beauty in themselves. They can't even appreciate themselves on their own. And that's how they can't appreciate anything in you. And that's why they're always trying to change you. That's why they're always trying to project, deflect. They're trying to give you what they've got because they don't want it. You notice how they're always giving you things, projecting things onto you, dumping it onto you. It's because they have it and they don't want it. It's their garbage and you are their trash can. That's all that is. And when you realize that, when you can see where it's coming from, you can see that they are disowning things that they don't like about themselves and putting it onto you, then it makes it that much easier for you to dissociate from it. Because you just got to see it like, well, they don't even want it themselves. So why should I take it then? But if this person already knows that what they're giving to me isn't any good, then why should I take it? That's how you got to think. And instead, you just reject that and start giving to you. Because clearly they're trying to do a trade, they're trying to do a swap, they're trying to give you what they've got that they don't want, so that they can get the good stuff from you. Instead, you just reject that and you keep giving the good stuff to yourself. That's how you grow. And you know what can help as well? If you seek out people, even if it has to be someone online, someone who can give you an honest perspective. Someone who maybe doesn't even have to be a friend, doesn't even have to be someone who you view as attractive yourself, just someone who can give you an honest perspective of yourself. It has to be genuine. Because honestly, I mean, it's how it is for a lot of us. You know, we don't see ourselves accurately. And you are likely so much more beautiful than you even realize. And then not only that, I mean, you know, you're never going to be able to please everyone. Different people, they have different likes, there's different things that attract them. And that's okay, you know, everyone has their own unique tastes, whether it's in looks or in something else. But definitely, you know, you're going to find that people will view you as more attractive than you think you are. I mean, that's often what you will find. But yeah, you know, of course, you know, there's, like with men, for example, there's some men who are more drawn to tall women, and then other men are more drawn to those who are short. And that doesn't have to mean that tall women are beautiful and short women aren't, even though typically we are more inclined to see tall women as beautiful and short women are more cute. I mean, that's typically how it is, but even then, you know, it's all relative. What if you never knew about those taller women? Then the women who are short would be seen as hot or beautiful rather than cute. So it's all relative. It's all based on comparison. And I think this is where we get lost in the world, is comparing ourselves. You know, that's just that. How can you compare yourself to someone else? And that's something that I've personally never understood. We are all on our separate journeys. And comparing yourself is destined to create insecurity. Because there's always going to be someone else who you may see as being more attractive than you, no matter how attractive you are. And even then, you know, taste trends can change, and perceptions can change too. So things are always changing. Now that's why, you know, while it can help to get that validation from another person, and to just have them, you know, just to tell you that you are beautiful, that can be very helpful. At the end of the day, you've really just got to rely on self-validation, because the outside can change. And you're going to encounter different people, different tastes. So for that consistent confidence and real confidence, that's got to come from within. And typically, you know, someone who's confident in themselves is going to value that confidence in you. And that's just typically how it is. I mean, but yeah, let me know if you got any questions about what I've said to you. Anything that you would like to add? Geneva Cordoba says they do take credit for others' great ideas. Yeah, that's it, because, you know, they're coming to you out of insecurity and envy, out of feeling not good enough. So they already feel like whatever they could bring, whatever they could have to add to the situation is just no good. So they see it as though they got to take it from you, or they got to take it from someone else. They never feel like they've got anything of their own to bring that's going to be any good to you. Shining Heart says, looks mean nothing once we are gone. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, I did mention it's not all about superficial things. But then also, you know, recognize the work that you put in. If you exercise often and you moisturize your skin, you're taking care of yourself, that needs to be acknowledged. And, you know, narcissists, they will often come in and they'll try and get you to see things that way. Like they want you to play down on all of that. You got to be humble. You got to be modest. But then what about them? And then that's how they end up taken from you. So I do think also it is important to recognize your beauty and superficial things. Just don't make it everything, of course. But that's just how it is, you know, everything in moderation. Either extreme is no good. It needs to be more moderate, more in between. So looks are not everything, but they still have some significance. Sugar Rose asks, could you give an example of a short conversation with a narcissist? Well, that really depends on how they view you, how you view them. Depends what phase of the relationship you're in. Idealization, love bombing, devaluation, discard hoovering. But I'm assuming you're seeking clarity from being in the devaluation phase. So if you're having a conversation with a narcissist in the devaluation phase, it's going to be more indoctrination. Just feeding you their ideas, their perspectives of whatever helps them to stay in control. So it's all about just making you follow their lead, going in their direction and where they want you to go, so that they can get the maximum benefit out of you. That's typically what you're going to find in the devaluation phase. And if you are deviating, if you are going the opposite direction, it's all about getting you to turn away from that, come back this way. And if you won't do that, it's all about shutting you down. It's all about stopping you before you get too far away, because they're going to pull you back in to the direction that they're going in. So that's typically what you're going to find in a short conversation. Just to summarize it, if you're in the devaluation phase with a narcissist, they don't want you to get too far away to where you get out of reach and you're no longer under their spell. It's all about entrancing you, keeping you locked in their little bubble, their little world. Because that's where they're stuck, that's where they're trapped as a result of their trauma. And they can't find a way out of it. And many of you may have experienced this as well. When you're being entranced, entrained, you're under a spell by the narcissist, they keep you in a little bubble. You're at a lower level of consciousness, of awareness, you can't find your way out of it. It's like, where is the door? And then you find the door, you realize it's locked. And then it's like, where is the key? And you're just trying to solve all of these little puzzles to try and find your way out of there. And many of you don't ever even think that they could be experiencing that very same thing that they put you in. But that's exactly what's going on. They're going through that too. They know it all so well. That's how they're able to induce that state in you, because they're already on that same wavelength themselves. They're trapped and they can't find their way out. You know, when you feel you're at the lowest of the lows, the darkest of darkness, clouded awareness, clouded judgment, tunnel vision, brain fog, you feel detached and you just can't see clear. You're trying to find your way out. You're trying to find your way back to the surface. That's how they feel all the time. This is why they react in such impulsive ways. This is why they're so irritable. It's because they are stuck in that themselves. They always are. They're always trapped. They always feel like they're underwater and never able to find their way to the surface, just scrambling around. That's what they're always going through. And that's why they want to induce that state in you, so that it makes them feel like what they're going through isn't so bad. It's kind of like they are already drowning underwater. And they see that you are above the surface. They want to pull you underneath it too, so then they can see you going through it. And then what they're going through doesn't seem so bad. But your natural state is peace, freedom. As it is for me, when I'm not around these people, I feel free. I don't feel trapped at all, because I'm not seeking closure, validation from them. I find that within myself. And it's not always so simple as to put this into words, give a description. I mean, I probably could if I really thought about it. But it would never be enough. It's really a feeling. Peace that you find within yourself. And it just doesn't matter anymore. Because you're not drowning anymore. You're above the surface. You can breathe. But they never get that. They will never get to experience that moment. And anytime that they see you experience it, they're just thinking about how they can take it away from you. because it just reminds them of how it's never going to be like that for them. They're always going to be trapped because they're never going to look within themselves. So that's really what a short conversation is like with a narcissist during the devaluation phase. Maybe Reese says their interest turns to contempt. It really does. John Tracy says, yes, moderation in everything is the key. That's right, or at least moderation in most things, because I did see a study recently that was done talking about how 0% alcohol is best for our health if we don't drink any alcohol at all. And they used to say, you know, alcohol, as long as it's in moderation, like something like a glass of wine a week or a day or whatever it was. But now they are saying just no alcohol at all. And definitely, you know, that would be my advice for you. If you're going through this, or even if you've just come out of it, avoid alcohol if you can. And if it's difficult for you, definitely, you know, try to limit it. Even I myself, you know, when I came out of a narcissistic relationship, I was drinking 2 or 3 cans on the weekends while playing Xbox, and even smoking weed. And that did help to calm me down. And, you know, maybe there was a place for that back then, because it did help me to cope. Although that was only for a short time. It was only for maybe a few months. And then after that, then I moved on, I moved past it. And then I cut out all alcohol. I cut out smoking. And then I became a vegan. So even if you are using alcohol to cope, still use it in moderation, use discipline. Set a certain time for that. Don't do it too often. And also think into the future about when you're going to stop using it. That's very important, so that it doesn't carry on as an addiction. But my best advice is to just avoid it altogether if you can. Now, I understand, you know, we all have little things that we turn to cope, and I get that. It's kind of like we need something outside of ourselves to control us, to keep us in check. But just make sure that that thing does not control you. And also, think about the risk and the reward. Is the reward really worth the risk? So these are all things to take into consideration. My advice personally is to just not drink at all if you can. And instead, you know, look for alternatives. If you want to distract yourself from an addiction, focus on a healthier alternative. So you could get something with 0% alcohol, but it could still be like a yeast drink. So it's still got that same flavor, it just hasn't got the harmful ingredient. And that's really with anything, you know. Whenever you feel like an addiction is really hard to break, focus on a distraction. What's going to distract you from it? What is a healthier alternative? And that same passion that you had towards the addiction, take that and bring it into this alternative. And you will gradually find that the months and years go by, and even if that addiction does come to your attention again, it just makes you wonder, what did you ever see in that anyway? Because so much time has passed, and because you've been enjoying this alternative. And especially if you have a helpful, encouraging support network, then you can definitely overcome that. And this goes for anything, all addictions, whether it's alcohol, drugs, narcissists. Always have hope. And I myself, you know, I've overcome many addictions. I used to love meat, fish, dairy. I gave it all up. And I was addicted to coffee, energy drinks, weed, video games. I no longer use any of that anymore, not for years. And it's all because I'm just kind of busy. I'm too preoccupied with other things, with making videos. This is my healthier alternative. And sure, you know, maybe there's somewhere in my mind, it's still going to be there, of course, yes. It may still be there. And if I return to one of those things, I could still enjoy it again. And I could become addicted to it again. It's a possibility. And that's why I prefer to stay away from those things and not even have a cheat day. Because I know that's going to take me out of myself. And what I'm doing now, what I have now, I enjoy it so much more. So why would I want to go back? Why would I want to turn to something that takes me away from myself? From the person that I have worked on to become today? When anyway, those things were just something I turned to feel better about myself. Well, I can feel good about myself right now without any of that. So why would I go back? John Tracy says, I gave up alcohol over a decade ago. That's really good. Congratulations. 10-year anniversary of giving up alcohol. That's something to be proud of, you know, because so many people are drinking a lot of alcohol these days. They're turning to things that are unhealthy. And you know, it's really good for your body if if you can abstain from those things. Aaron Michael says, it is relaxing after work, I will admit. I'm drinking scotch right now, LOL. I agree, it's best to just avoid it all. It is best, I mean, and you know, that's what can help you to move past it. Like myself, with giving up meat, I just woke myself up to the reality of it, the harm that it does to animals, and you know, how they cage them. Like the animals aren't even free. And you know, that really helped me to move on from it. So such as with alcohol, you could look at the effects that it has on your body. That may give you the motivation that you need. Because right now, what you're doing is you're associating it with pleasure. So if you educate yourself on how it harms you, you may then begin to associate it with pain. And that's really what you want to do, you know, is to associate these addictions with pain, discomfort. More specifically, pain and discomfort, harm, rather than guilt. Because guilt, it kind of puts you in a cycle. You feel bad, so you use it, and then you feel guilty. And so then you've got to use it some more. But you know, these are my own values, my own beliefs, what I believe is right, what's worked for me. And you know, I'm not here to tell anyone to just give up alcohol or to become a vegan. You know, you're all individuals, and it's really up to you to decide as an adult what you decide to do. I can only give you what's worked for me, and you know, my personal advice. I'm not a doctor. I can also refer you to studies, but ultimately it's your decision. And you know, we are all our own people, and things like alcohol, sugar, caffeine, they affect us differently. And there's always not only a risk, but there's also a reward there. And that can differ depending on the person. So it's really down for the individual to explore, you know, what works for you. Is the risk worth the reward? Does it make you feel good? Is it worth the harm that it may cause? I'm just not here to you know, to rain on anyone's parade. You know, if someone's having a drink, if someone's turning to something, and it could be the only thing they have, you know, it could be the only thing that's getting them through. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you to just give up on that if that's helping you now. So you decide what works for you, and, you know, you just set small goals of, when you can use this to cope, and then also decides, how long will you use it for? And then when can you move past it? Or if you're searching for healthier alternatives, just have the awareness and just explore different possibilities. And don't let the guilt take over you. Just know that I was once there too. I was once there, sitting on my couch every weekend, 2 or 3 cans of beer, smoking weeds, playing on my Xbox, not even working. That's where I once was. And, that was shortly after the narcissist broke up with me and I tried to take my own life. So, of course, it's kind of understandable how I ended up in that position. And it was like that for a few months. Until gradually I then started this YouTube channel, and who knows, maybe those few cans of beer every week, the Xbox, the weed, the isolation, trying to take my own life, maybe these things were what then propelled me in that direction. Definitely, yes, that could have been what got me there. Sometimes we do need that low moment. Sometimes we do. But it's quite a complex and even controversial topic. So, like I said, this is something to be aware of and something for you to explore for yourself. And you can read up on different studies and just decide what's right for you. And also talk to a doctor as well. Seek professional advice. But yeah, I'm gonna go and do a gym workout now. I've been to the gym for a few days. Now let's just hear sleeping. But yeah, I gotta get a workout done. And I hope this video was good for you. I hope it helped you to see how these things that are positive about you can actually make a narcissist treat you worse. So I hope you learned something here. And if you've got anything else to add, if you have any questions, drop it in the comment section. And let's start a discussion together. And if you would like to help support the channel, you can give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, click on notifications to be notified when I go live again. And also you can donate by going to paypal.me/Narc Survivor. If you would like guidance and support your healing journey, you can book a one-on-one with me by going to narcsurvivor.com. narcsurvivor.co.uk. And you can follow me on my Instagram. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. So that's it for this video. And I will talk to you in another live video very soon.